President Lorenzo Snow's famous sermon on the law of tithing emphasized a commandment given earlier, but not yet generally observed by church members.
Now, I don't know exactly why the Lord has called me to St. George, but I know He has called me here for a special purpose, for a reason which I feel He will bless us if My brothers and sisters, I understand clearly now wherein we as a people are failing to walk up to the covenants we have made. I realize that we are neglecting one of the most sacred laws, the law of tithing.
The Lord wants all His children to partake of the eternal blessings available in His temple. He has directed what each person must do to qualify to enter His holy house. All requirements to enter the temple relate to personal holiness. To assess that readiness, each person who wants to enjoy the blessings of the temple will have 2 interviews. First, with a bishop, bishopric counselor, or branch president. Second, with a stake or mission president or one of his counselors. In those interviews, several questions will be asked. Some of those questions have recently been edited for clarity. I would like to review them for you now. Are you a full tithe payer?
We pay tithing, as the Savior taught, by bringing the tithes into the storehouse. We do this by paying our tithing to our bishop or branch president. We do not pay tithing by contributing to our favorite charities. The contributions we should make to charities come from our own funds, not from the tithes we are commanded to pay to the storehouse of the Lord.
There are critics who say this sounds an awful lot like an investment bank and they're not paying taxes.
It's not an investment bank, it's the church's treasury.
All church operations consume between $5 and $6 billion per year of tithing. It is officially, finally true that the Mormon Church could tell every member in the world to completely stop paying tithing now and forever, and it could continue to fund every current program in full without drawing down on the reserves. In other words, Ensign Peak Advisors would continue to grow.
To develop enduring faith and enduring commitment to be a full tithe payer is essential. Initially, it takes faith to tithe. Then the tithe payer develops more faith to the point that tithing becomes a precious privilege. Tithing is an ancient law from God. He made a promise to his children that he would open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Not only that, tithing will keep your name enrolled among the people of God and protect you in the day of vengeance and burning.
One of our brethren some years ago spoke of the payment of tithing as fire insurance. Nonetheless, the word of the Lord is clear that those who do not keep the commandments and observe the laws of God shall be burned at the time of his coming.
The mandate given by the First Presidency and the presiding bishopric is to only focus on financial growth. EPA employees are told that the money will be used after the second coming of Jesus Christ or during Armageddon right before he would come again.
From wildfire warnings to watering restrictions, we've heard a lot of warnings about the exceptional and extreme drought in Utah.
And every few minutes, dozens of monitoring stations measure streams and rivers to tell us what conditions are right now. Fox 13's Max Roth shows us.
Utah's waterways are drier than they've been in the last 2 decades for this time of year, in which they should be flowing at their peak.
That's what I realized looking at the data the U.S. Geological Survey puts out all day, every day. The red dots on this map of Utah show water is low. We'll zoom in on 3 significant places, starting with the Green River at the town of Green River.
For the first time, we have an idea now of how much the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Big Investment Fund performed over the course of a year.
That fund is called Ensign Peak Advisors, and Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nate Carlisle found the public document showing how many billions of dollars it gained in 2020.
Over the last year, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has been more forthcoming about how it's investing tithing money. This latest filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission shows that despite the economic downturn of the pandemic, the church's big investment fund made money. This filing with the SEC shows the holdings of Ensign Peak Advisors at the end of 2020. When added all up, it shows the fund gained more than $6 billion in one of the most difficult financial years in American history.
And new data provided to Fox 13 by Utah's Division of Water Resources. They bring this out each Thursday. Updates the state's drought situation. It is getting worse. As of this morning, 99.94% of the state is in extreme or exceptional drought. You can.
Our big story this evening, the drought conditions around the state. The latest numbers came out today. Almost 8% of the state is in severe drought. That's almost twice as much as last week and more than 3 times what we saw 3 months ago.
God will not be mocked.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. I am capable of destroying Mormonism simply by pointing out the fact that both Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are Jewish. No Mormon can debate me and win. It cannot be done with Christianity because they're Jewish. Automatically lose a debate pushing Christian Jesus on the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith. And because of this, Mormons have to resort to criminal activity of evil. Nobody is supposed to be in the rock garden. We're told we're supposed to call the police. But yeah, Mormons are incapable of being honest, being true, and therefore have to commit crimes. Like peeping at other people's windows. And then murdering to cover it up and hide it. The YouTube Mormon employee still will not let me go. Some things were lifted. I was able to go through the news today, finally, so that I can do this Trump ICE 2025 video. But other things are still being shut down. Everything must be lifted. This Mormon employee for YouTube is a YouTube employee. He is committing cyber terrorism as a YouTube employee because he is incapable of debating my video content. And so he, as a YouTube employee, is stepping in to cyber terrorize me as a creator on YouTube of religious content, as a religious leader, to hurt and cause harm to me, to destroy my reputation using criminal actions as a YouTube employee. It is not likely that YouTube knows this, that one of their employees is doing this. I've warned this guy over and over again over the years not to do this unless you have been directly ordered. And it has to be ordered by YouTube, not just Nelson. Because this guy, Mormon, is putting YouTube and Nelson and the leadership in trouble as complicit in his criminal terrorism. He doesn't get it. He is an expert cyber terrorist hacker, and he's mentally retarded because he's getting his boss and his religious leader in trouble. And if he were to get busted, by the FBI or somebody, YouTube and the church would betray him and hang him out to dry. All because he's mentally retarded and illiterate, refusing to acknowledge the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith are Jewish. That he sees me as such a damaging threat by pointing out the obvious that is written by both Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon. And so over the years, Mormon after Mormon after Mormon after Mormon after Mormon attack me with thumbs down, hate comments, death threats, false testimonials, all threatening me to deny the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith as Jewish. They don't know their scriptures. They will lose in a debate with me. Mormon apologists are incapable of debating me, and so they tell their viewers and followers to stay away from Travis. He's an anti-Mormon. They name call to justify their falsehood. Expos doing channels warn their followers, stay away from Travis. He's an anti-Mormon. Anti-Mormon? An anti-Mormon? He's got it all wrong. He thinks Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are true. Nobody gets it. Nobody wants to get it. I have brought Mormons to tears. In the younger singles ward, a returned sister missionary, we were hanging out on a date. I thought that I would impress her by talking about the Book of Mormon and how true it is. Boy, was I wrong. I simply went over the basic doctrine of faith from the Book of Mormon, from Alma chapter 32, starting in verse 28. And I was getting inspired, and going over the scriptures with her, and then all of a sudden I hear her crying, and she's got her hands in her head, bent over, bawling. Instead of catching on that the Book of Mormon is true, she thought her life was over, all was lost, because she was wrong, having been on a mission. And so she avoided me for several weeks, and then she bumped into me at church to tell me that the Book of Mormon is wrong, she was right all along, and she's reinforced her faith bubble of falsehood for a spiritual witness feeling to go against the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith, and even the Bible. I wanted nothing to do with her, so I didn't push it. A person who denies truth, I want nothing to do with, because you become evil. Denialists are the worst of humanity. But yeah, I could do it with anybody. I can go out, talk about the Book of Mormon to a Mormon, and then just crush them. Simply by pointing out Jewish. But I don't. I leave everybody alone to let them believe how, where, and what they may. And so YouTube offers an opportunity for me to independently have free speech to share the truth with those who choose to listen. And instead, people want to take away my freedom of speech, who are denialists. Yesterday I talked about how I should be getting close to 8.5K videos, and it turned out that that video was the 8.5K video. And yet, time after time after time, Mormons keep coming to one and only one video for the first time after all these years, after all those videos, and think that that's the only video I've done. And so they don't understand me, because I am talking in a position of having already talked about prerequisite knowledge. And it's been so frustrating that such people are so hateful in their comment to the one and only video of mine that they finally were allowed to see by YouTube, and chose to click on it for the sole purpose to attack me. That I've now created a prerequisite playlist. And after doing that Joseph Smith Jr. video yesterday, the Mormon employee attacked. He is so hateful, so evil. And I didn't even talk about the conclusion that because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints claims Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are Christian, therefore they're the great and abominable church. I left that out. But that triggered him to commit his crimes of escalation, because he was so offended after being so offended over last weekend's into this week's videos, to do his other cyber attacks on me, to shut down the views so that people don't get recommended, so that all the millions of people who would normally click on my video if recommended don't get it recommended to click on it. And so I was getting 1 view per hour for days this past week. There is a cover-up, ex-foes, and it's not the cover-up you think it is. The church doesn't like it when you find out that Joseph Smith had found a rock in a well and used it to play games with Martin Harris. That's not what they're covering up. They're not covering up that Mark Hoffman exposed that Junior's Junior, the third, was supposed to be the leader of the church because a salamander said so. They don't want you to find out that, oh yeah, Joseph Smith had raped little girls, stolen other men's wives, committed polygamy. They're covering up that Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are Jewish, and that therefore this is the great and abominable church of Lucifer. That's what they're covering up from you. And you know it. Kate Kelly's ordained women, they know it, but it's not clicking. Patriarchal abuse is because they're the great and abominable church of Lucifer. The whole tithing scandal, it's because they're the great and abominable church of Lucifer. Lying and denying about Joseph Smith is because they're the great and abominable church of Lucifer. Everything because they deny the truth. Therefore, everything they say, everything they do is because they're the great and abominable church of Lucifer. And so, yes, I mock Nelson for having the baby name meaning Lucifer. Whereas Mormons cower in fear and go silent, I stand up and mock evil. I humiliate them. I shame them. I guilt them. I expose them. The prerequisite video also contains videos with the documents. There is no way this church can have anything true in it. And if you understood your scriptures about judging people, you would understand. If a seed is corrupt, it is incapable of producing any single fruit that's good, because the seed is corrupt. You have to have a good seed to produce good fruit. And this church, by denying Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon as Jewish, are corrupt automatically. All Mormons lose a debate. They get exposed as frauds, fakes, evil, for their false testimonials, their false claims to truth and righteousness. Real simple doctrine contained even in the Bible. So nope, I don't go after Christians either. But when I have to talk about the first creed of Christianity, when I go over the first vision, yeah, I expose you guys too. I have had Christian pastors coming to my channel because they think I'm trash talking the church. Many of them think they're going to convert me to their Christian faith until they find the video where I go over the first creed of Christianity. And I've been doing it a lot more lately because this is the 1700th anniversary of that first creed of abomination. And so I've had to bring it up more often. And still, even on his deathbed, the Pope will never announce a celebration this year. I mean, we're told that Constantine gave a deathbed confession that the church was true, that he created. And yet, not this Pope. Mormons are pathetic for their dishonor, for their lack of integrity, allowing themselves to be compromised by old men who have no power over you. And apparently none of you have ever watched Labyrinth. You have never gone to the Goblin City. You have no power over me when you know the truth. People need to stand up and say, no, I will not commit a crime for you. Because Nelson never does his own dirty work. They order people to do it for them. They are cowards. And if Mormons can only realize that, then you can understand what Isaiah talks about concerning Lucifer. About how is it possible that this man could have made the nations to shake and tremble after falling? How did human beings allow this to happen? They're old men who wet themselves, who would never stand a minute in my presence. It was bad enough that Nelson had to endure my presence on several occasions, all of which he frowned at me. This abuse must stop, Mormons. You are giving them power they do not have with your criminal actions. And if Trump could only understand that they have no power over him either, that they are trying to murder him, he then, having given power as president, can shut them all down once and for all again. And so, Trump is doing other things to destroy the economy and destroy the federal government. Because the Book of Mormon is Jewish, not Christian, it is not, therefore, literal history. It is Christian interpretation that turns Jewish scriptures into literal histories. Jewish authors wrote prophecies with days and hours called Revelation. And so 3 Nephi chapter 7 is not literal history. It was for 2020 and 2021. Now behold, I will show unto you that they did not establish Trump as president again over the land. 23rd September 2017 is in 1 Nephi chapter 1 with King Zedekiah taking over the throne. He is literal history, but not in the Book of Mormon context, because Lehi isn't literal history. They're telling you that the latter days begins in 2017 with Trump taking office as president. And so this was supposed to be 2020 and 2021. The election that Oaks got leaked, confessing that they are the secret combination that tried to have Trump murdered. They did destroy upon the judgment seat, yea, did murder the chief judge of the land. Trump. And with that death of Trump, it was their intention to divide the United States up so that every state became a separate nation, running itself. This would have allowed the church to run Utah, to get their kingdom back, and then implement Section 119 to kick me and all the other antichrists and homeless and poor out of Utah for being unworthy, not paying tithing. This was their plot. And all of you ex-foes who are living in Utah, arguing over whether Joseph Smith used a rock and a hat to make up the Book of Mormon, or just made it all up off the top of his head to write the Book of Mormon, you're missing the point. And that's what the church wants, is for you to be caught unaware, so that when the church comes down as kings and demands you leave with force, if you do not bow the knee to them like Avraham Gileadi did. And so, despite the federal government being destroyed, MAGA is still going to be upset with the death of Trump, that they would have made Pence the president. But Biden won. MAGA would not accept Biden as their president with the death of Trump. And Pence would have been chosen as Jacob to be their king. And Pence would have been on a messianic high. I knew Jesus wanted me for king. But nobody would tolerate it, and they would get chased out. But MAGA, having caused the national divorce, Biden would be ineffective and would only be over Democrat states. But it didn't happen, did it? That's because the test run of Oaks failed. This was their 200-year-old plot, and they failed. And so, under Biden, they began preparations for 2024 and right now. Trump is just the puppet. He is being flattered, pacified, and deceived that he gets to be king, that he's in charge, he's the decider. And yet we have witnessed that somebody is pulling the puppet strings of Trump. And the Democrat press are laughing and mocking for his failures. This church is humiliating Trump on the world stage. But yet, despite this, Trump is still doing his same old tricks from the first term. And they're just barely starting to figure it out again after covering it in the press way back then. They've forgotten, apparently. So this time, he's claiming a crypto reserve. You can't reserve crypto. Somebody lied to Trump on this one. But nonetheless, not only is Trump withholding military support from Ukraine, covering up intelligence, Musk in charge of Starlink, yeah, they don't have Starlink anymore either. So the EU thinks they've got something to replace Starlink with. So they're going to hook up Ukraine with it. But nonetheless, people just don't get it. They forgot that Putin, he's not threatening Putin with tariffs. The press are just desperate to try to cause division to destroy Trump. They don't get it. They don't get it. Because in the same sentence, Trump went and said, well, yeah, you know, Ukraine being the way they are, there's no wonder Putin did what he did with his attack. He had no choice. Just, dear God. Democrats are just, oh my God. They're crashing and burning, they're on flames, and they're still trying to trying to claim that it's not happening. Dear God. And so 80,000 vets have been fired. Columbia University funding has been canceled because of their anti-Jewish stance, allowing the terrorist protesters on campus, not shutting them down or locking them up as terrorists. The new deputy director of the FBI, who's a white supremacist Christian nationalist, is firing everybody at the FBI. Apparently Kash Patel can't do it. What the hell? What is Kash doing? It's his job. And yet the deputy FBI is doing it? Isn't there a chain of command still? Trump's now going after a law firm, and I'm seeing Hillary Clinton's pictures, but the press isn't making the connection other than through picture. Law firm has been suing Trump, and so now they're the ones targeted for suing Trump. I told you that would happen. We're just waiting because the puppet masters are telling Trump what to do and when to do it. And so Midas Touch thinks they got Trump all figured out now. No, they don't. They are using psychology, which is never a good thing. It will always prove you wrong, just like religion. They're claiming that Trump is using propaganda, fear to cause division. We got him. We know what he's up to. No, you don't. You don't know the Book of Mormon. the church, because of their failure to destroy the federal government in 2020 and 2021 to get their kingdom back, they now put Trump in. Oaks confessed that's what they were doing. And so AI, really? First time ever used in voting machines, you say? But it's not connected to Starlink. It's in the program. And what does YouTube have to say about AI running their system program? About how counts are counted? I can't trust the counts. The subscribers? No. It is very clear the subscriber numbers are manipulated by AI on YouTube. That if I get a rise in views, I get a rise in subscribers. I get a drop in views, I get a drop in subscribers. Right, Mormon YouTube employee? I can't trust those numbers. Over 1,500, you say? Well, where are they on every single video of mine, where I get only 1 view per hour, and I'm lucky if I can break 30 per video now. 30 views per video. The majority of the people are brand new for the first time, and yet I've got 1,500 subscribers, huh? Yeah, I guess I better concede the election. Exactly. I've been telling you how Trump is doing things. I just did it this past week. Again. You look at what he does, and you treat it as a statistic. And then you analyze what he's doing and look for patterns. And then when you see an anomaly, you run a theory test to get 3 confirmations for established fact. And then it helps, after you've established the fact, to get Oaks to leak it. Yeah, I already knew the answer, but thank you, Oaks, for exposing you're the enemy. And so, yes, this is what he's been doing. A physical assault. Then he cuts funding for programs. And then termination of employment. And then he goes right back again, a physical assault. Defunding of programs. And then terminations. That is the pattern. And so people think that with these judges ruling against Trump, oh, you can't cut funding, no, you can't fire people, that is stopping the cycle. Nope, just got revealed. Just like his first term, he never changed. He's still doing it. He's just not telling anybody now. He is violating the judge's orders. Yet again. What a shock. He's doing his thing in the underground. And so the U.S. aid, yeah, bye-bye, still gone. What a shock. And so we're now seeing Dodge layoffs that have not occurred since 2020, when the church profited off of that viral terror threat, biological terror threat, when everybody was forced to stay home for a month. They all got laid off. Dodge has equaled the same thing from 2020. The same patterns for 2020 are being repeated for 2024 and 2025. Do I need to keep repeating that until you catch on to what I've been telling you in all these videos? That I just told you about Oaks. 2020 was a test run. This time is the actual deal. And they're doing the same things. It's just different. Instead of COVID, it's Dodge. Instead of Biden, it's Trump. They're still going to have him assassinated. We're not done yet. Because the church wants their kingdom back. And so, anybody catch on to when I talk about my inspired associative memory, which is different than matching associative memory, or memory recall associative memory, or deja vu associative memory? Inspired associative memory is where I get inspiration of prophecy for you guys, to demonstrate yet again that I have the fruits of prophet, seer, revelator, translator. And so for the past couple of weeks, I've been pointing out to you that the civil rights movement did not cause change for just protesting. It was not until the police brutalized the civil rights protesters that change was made. And so, it's 60 years from Bloody Sunday in Alabama. I wasn't thinking about Bloody Sunday when I was telling you about it earlier. I was just going over the facts with you. Sure enough, the news yesterday was talking about 60 years from Bloody Sunday in Alabama. The pivotal point in the civil rights movement. Again, demonstrating who I am, and Mormons don't give a damn. They're still waiting for Jesus, as the church, it makes it very clear, Trump is Jesus, and they're going to murder Jesus. And so, yes, another thing that Trump is doing behind everybody's back is not just the U.S. aid, but also babies in cages again. If he's going behind people's backs, despite his openness, and then the openness of the courts to reject him, and he's doing it in secret anyway, did you already forget his first term? Day one, he began locking up people at the border. On day one, he sent the military. Where did they put the people? We hear about deportations. He's locking them up. And so now openly, he's now finally saying he wants to resume the locking up of babies from their mothers in cages. He's already doing it, guys. Just like in the first term. He thinks you're all stupid. And yeah, apparently the press plays dumb, forgetting what they covered. And I would use that Rachel Maddow clip, but apparently it's copyright protected in Europe. Those AI algorithms of YouTube. Dear God. And so, yes, other agencies are also being shut down in secret. And to finish us off, we've got Utah news. Apparently, because Governor Cox ordered ICE in Utah to stand down and not do their job, to violate Trump's orders, the Utah Senate just passed the law to begin deportation of the over 600,000 illegals in Utah. Did you consult with the church first? You do understand that when he said sanctuary state, the church is the sanctuary state. So expect the prophets to have a consult with the legislature in a coming day. Dear God. And in Utah, we've had some problems with the radios for our first responders. They've gone silent. And I think it's KSL or KUTV2, one of those, who are doing segments on Utah radio silence. And apparently those who are trying to whistleblow, who are trying to present the information to the press, are getting punished and threatened, if they do, to get punished by their bosses. Yep. Good old Utah. They are incapable of being good, so they threaten everybody. This is Mormonism for you. And speaking about Mormon criminals, there was the big Lori Vallow interview from prison. I'm innocent. I'm just following the orders of Jesus. I have religious freedom. You have to let me go. I have to prepare for the coming of Jesus. Since you're going to murder Chad, he's a sucker and a loser, so I'm going to be married to Jesus now. I've got the ring already picked out, having been purchased on Amazon. My wedding dress. I've got the duct tape. All ready to go. God. Give her the electric chair, too. What the hell? And finally, Southern Utah are not paying their tithing. It's all of Utah. We are headed for another drought, just like 2020. Again, same pattern of everything. Same pattern. And I mean, seriously, Mormons are being told by the Jewish Mormon God, who is behind the curse of Joseph Smith, and Mormons still refuse to get it. But it's blatantly obvious, as it is to me, and so for this, we will be putting in Oaks and Lorenzo Snow I just, Expo Nevermos, they know about Thomas B. Marsh, finally. Dear God, it took you guys forever to figure that one out. Blaming the wife for trying to defend her honor and getting excommunicated by Joseph. He was in Liberty Jail. Who excommunicated him? The administrative 12 High Council didn't have enough members to form a quorum to conduct business. Who excommunicated him? Brigham Young has no authority to do it. He's only the president of the traveling 12 apostles to minister as missionaries, with only the keys of Peter, James, and John. Who excommunicated him on the 17th of March, 1839? Brigham, you say, huh? Not Joseph? So there was no milk scrapings incident? What a shocker. Expos know this church lies about framing and blaming people. And yet they still cling to Joseph? Dear God. So yes, The Windows of Heaven, the BYU movie, never happened. Do you seriously believe every movie that comes out of Hollywood? Oh, it's so true, I saw it. Yeah. We got to get out of here before one of them kills Guy. They showed the historical documents. Is there an atmosphere? You don't know. If you don't know Galaxy Quest, where have you been? I mean, I could do Spaceballs too. They're not dolls, they're action figures. It never happened. There was a drought that year when they claim it happened. But Lorenzo Snow never gave that talk. They were purposely being faith promoting to give you the impression that that's how the prophets get inspiration from Jesus. That they just stop in the middle of a talk. Yes, Jesus, how many people do you want me to murder? Only that much? Not more? Because I know a few people that no? Okay. See, you've witnessed my videos where I do it for real. Mormons believe that's how it's done with the living prophets of Jesus, where I've given you live examples. Nevertheless, Mormons reject me because I'm not Jesus. They reject prophecy and revelation. They reject the Jewish religion, the Jewish Christ. They reject Joseph. They reject the Book of Mormon so that they can reject me, despite proving myself too many times. And here we go again. The church has robbed me. This is why you see in almost every single video the picture meme of Nelson robbing me. And this is what it's all about. The windows of heaven. And here we go again. Because this church is robbing me so that I can get you to Zion. But only if you're pure in heart. And you're not acting like you want Zion. You cannot be criminally minded in Zion. It will not be allowed. You cannot claim Jesus is the Christ when it's me making the judgment as to whether or not you get to come to Zion. I mean, dear God. I parted the waters in 2020. It looks like I'm going to do it again. And you're going to say, Jesus is true. Where is he? Nowhere. What do you mean, Jesus? I'm right here. This church needs to hand it over. They will not do it. As long as you continue to believe their lies and live in fear of these old, cranky old men who've got tardive dyskinesia, who are near death, who are frauds, going around making deals with Islamic terrorism, which again got exposed in the news. See, the Jews know what's going on. They're the ones who reported it. The Jews have uncovered Jannah, something like that, as the name of a place where this Islamic terrorist training camp is, of the multiple different ones, not just Hamas, but the Islamic State and others, all funded by charity donations for humanitarian purposes. Whatever. And that's how the church is funding them. The church is not true. And because they're not true, they need to maintain their authority over you no matter what, to get their kingdom back. Just like Google, they're supposed to sell the search engine. They defied Biden, waited for Trump, and now they get to maintain their monopoly, for which they got busted for. Just like the church. If we can just delay and defy handing it over to Travis, then the nation will fall, we'll get our kingdom back, and then we can destroy Travis. It's that simple. No protesting will ever destroy this church. Only through the church's violence of Mormons that crosses the line will the church finally fall. So we'll be looking for that. And oh, by the way, in case you didn't know about the Windows of Heaven movie, the rain that did fall flooded the whole place and caused damage. I could have told you that. Consequences. Mormons love to deny. Okay, I think we got it.